Welcome back to Radio Free Freedonia, which I didn't screw up. I think the first day of Freedonia Con, Lady Styx, I kept wanting to say
Yes.
welcome back to no, just Freedonia. Freedonia Con. Yeah. I was awful about I've gotten so used to welcome back to Radio Free Freedonia. Which is good, right? It means we've been doing this for a while.
Uh, yes, that is good. It does mean we have been doing it for a while.
So, in case you are new, I'm here, and with me is my beautiful co-host, Lady Styx, our fabulous official, unofficial co-host, Mr. Pink. Always right, Matty's in the house, Philip from Chicago, and one of my new all-time favorites, Mr. Savage, who's been helping with the invention of Care Bears. And I see Dire Sith Lord is also here. Oh, yeah, he actually had some ideas that I can incorporate into a storyline I was already working on, at least parts of them. So I told him if I actually let Ross make this into a book, which I don't know that would ever happen, but if I did, I have to put a cool thank you to Savage in it.
Hi, Sarah.
Is Sarah here too?
Yep.
Oh, well, we love Sarah. I mean, not that we don't like you, Philip. Just saying. Love Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I am sorry about your week, Philip.
You made the right choice.
See, Philip's smart. I'm just saying. Smart man.
Everyone loves me.
That's true. So I'm actually hoping you get to come to like Gen Con or Origin so that I can meet you in person.
Well, we're working on it. We're definitely working on it.
Awesome. All right. Lady Styx, since we were talking about what the topic was, somebody brought it up on social media, not ours, but in my personal social media, or they brought it up on theirs and I saw it, whatever, about cheating in role-playing games. And I think I told you about that earlier today, something like that was what the topic was going to be. And I remember you were saying like, well, bah. And I'm like, and that's my initial first reaction. Like, who the F cheats at a game that you can't win or lose? Like, what would be the point of that? But I think but you can't win. Why cheat? So I think that there's stuff there to talk about. I think that there's some stuff in how game design has reflected this I don't want to lose thing with basically almost destroying botching, right? In a lot of games it's almost impossible to botch, if it isn't impossible. And then there's the idea of, can a GM cheat? And I don't mean necessarily as in I made my big bad worse in the middle of the thing to kill you, because most people would be like, that's just kind of a dick move, why would you do that? But what about if the GM fudges so you doesn't kill your character? And I've always been a story person, so for me, I'm like, well, of course I don't let a dice roll destroy a great story, right? And
that was a great story.
Because unless and I've had characters of my own, and I've had players who are like, no, I want them to go out in a blaze of glory. This will be amazing, right? And I think you got to fill at your table with who's okay with and who isn't okay with dark consequences. Also, depending on what game they want to play, like Earth Dawn, it's not as easy as a lot of your D&D-esque. I'll just have you resurrected. I'll just have you brought back, right? I'm not sure you can bring anybody back. I'm sure that maybe there's some crazy 15th circle miracle that you can pull out of the Passion's hat. But it's much easier to die in Art Dawn, and it's a lot harder to bring somebody back. But that doesn't mean that a story is a good story if you kill off a main character. A beloved main character, at least to that player. It's I used to refer to it as the Chewbacca situation. I was an avid Star Wars fan. Read the novels, right? had all the novels. Then they killed Chewbacca, and I was unhappy. And I literally basically donated the books and quit reading them. And someone was like, but he had a cool death. They had to drop a moon on him. He's rescuing children and they drop a moon on him. I'm like, yeah, but you killed Chewbacca. And maybe it's an autism. I don't like change and I don't know. But I thought it would be a fun topic. Is there a place you want to start?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Merfolk
Cheating
North?
Philip said cheating is absolutely rampant in LARPs. Yeah, but
Yeah,
LARP
it's
players
very
are
rampant in LARP.
different than tabletop players. You can have
It
some
also
crossover, but they're different.
happens very often in the mini gaming community.
Yeah, but that has winners and losers. Traditional
Yeah.
role-playing games don't have winners or losers. You can't win at my Earthdawn table. There's no win. Can't lose either because there's no loss. Yes, you are a daywalker. I have not only done both, but I have GM both. Okay, how about this, Philip? To give you an idea just how bad it is in LARPs, literally they had to go with, we keep a hard copy of your character sheet, and if anybody calls your character sheet in question, it has to match what we have on file, or you're out of the game. Because people would just add dots to things, and it was, are you effing kidding me?
The main argument I've had with people with LARPs, mostly World of Darkness, because that's the biggest
that's
LARP.
the big LARP, yeah.
Is that reading someone's pattern for rock, paper, scissors is the same as cheating.
No,
and
it just means you're not dumb and you can count to 3.
But see, that's the problem, is that it's supposed to replace dice, and by doing that, it means you can load dice.
I mean, yes, but some people do that without meaning to. It's kind of like card counting. There's only 52 cards.
I know some people say, oh, I do it unintentionally, but I'm like, yeah, but you always say that after the fact you've done it.
Oh, no, I would be very honest. If I do it enough times with you, I will probably, at least when I was younger and my brain wasn't slow, I would probably, but I would have just told you.
But that's the thing, is I have had long debates with a lot of LARPers who refuse to acknowledge the fact that because they can predict someone's pattern, they're cheating.
See, my thing is, if I can predict your pattern, just pick a substitute. Find somebody else.
See, that's the thing, is they don't always do that. They, especially if they know the storyteller's pattern, the game just falls apart. Jesus, Matty.
I think that part of cheating is in any game is I think there's 2 or 3 ways you can do it. Commonly, you can either game the system or you can game the players, or you can just fudge your rules, which I guess falls under gaming the system.
But again, let's go back to fundamentally why in a game that doesn't have winners or losers, what is the point in it? In the miniature wargaming, you're trying to win. There's a winner, there's a loser, right? LARPing, those people are, and I've LARPed, but there's a lot of those people who don't have a life outside of the LARP, and that's sad.
And they do have the winning and losing mentality.
They also are very PvP, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
Their mentality is very different, and they will honestly look at you, and there are winners and there are losers. But again, they don't usually have lives outside of that game, right? But on a traditional table, I'm running Earthdawn, I'm running 1879, I don't care, I'm running D&D, whatever. You literally, by definition, cannot win or lose. Why cheat? Why cheat?
I mean, one-upping people. is
Yeah.
probably a motivation.
The sense that they're getting away with something. I don't
How
understand people who
petty is
cheat
that?
anyway. So I don't know.
That seems so petty. I need to one up my
Right, but
friends.
I mean,
That's
some people do
petty.
that though, so that's why some people play those games.
Petty, petty. All right. What about. Actually, I don't know. Matty? Why do you think they do it?
What do people do? What?
Cheat at a role playing
Cheat.
game where there's no win or loss. Like, you can't win. Doesn't work that way. You can't lose either. But why cheat at something like that?
I think people absolutely can lose, if they try hard enough. And sometimes winning comes. Like, some people just are shit. Why do people commit crimes? You can win at life without committing a crime if you choose.
You could, but there's a win.
It's the
You
same
commit a
thing.
crime to get money.
We have rules. Well, not necessarily.
I mean that. Well, okay, but like we're talking about a tabletop game. Like literally by definition, there are no winners or losers. You can't win at Earth Dawn or 1879. You can't lose at it either.
I don't know. What if someone decides that as a GM they're going to ascend one of their players to passionhood? Shit like that happens all the time in D&D. Like, ugh.
Okay, Dire Sith. I think Mr. Pink, you chimed in, right? You had an opinion.
I have not chimed in, and I do not have a huge opinion on that one. Mostly because I firmly believe that in most tabletop games, failure is fun.
I was going to talk about that. That's a good segue. And we didn't even plan it, and that's a damn good segue. That's why you're the official, unofficial dude. So, the guy who wrote Eberron, whose name is Keith Baker. I didn't totally
I would have said Kevin Baker, but
Is it Kevin Baker? Did I get it wrong?
I don't know.
I thought it was Keith.
It's a K name in Baker. I would have said Kevin just because that's the first name I go to.
But anyhow, he was at a convention I was at. And we were talking about GMing and things like that. Keith.
It is? Okay.
Yep. At least according to the AI overlord, but the AI overlord can spell Eberron better than me, so I'm going to believe him. All right, sorry. So we're talking about botching, right? And sometimes I think GMs can get stuck in the, I guess your string broke, or your sword broke, or it's stuck in the tree, or whatever the hell. And he had said that one of the things he had started doing was, instead of telling the players what happened when they botched, he would look at them and say, okay, so what happened? And what he found was amazing was that players actually came up with something usually better, funnier, and meaner than he would have. And I was like, really? I want to see this. So I started doing it myself, and I do still to this day very often. We'll look at the players and be like, oh, what happened? And he's right. Better, funnier, and a lot of times meaner than I would have ever come up with. For me, botching in a story isn't a bad thing. You're creating a low. Those lows are what's necessary to create highs. And just because whatever it was failed doesn't mean we can't still complete the job, mission, whatever. It means that we just have to find a different way, a more creative way, which usually tends to end up being better stories. You can't even have a good high in a story without a low. You know, it's a so much better story that you felt defeated and you fought your way back to the Goblin King or whatever. So I'm a big agreement with you. Botching isn't bad in a game. It's a story point, and story point's what we're going for. Being creative with that's what we're going for. Lady Styx?
Mm-hmm.
Got an opinion?
Not terribly. I'm sorry. I'm very distracted this evening.
It's okay.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, Matty.
It's allergies.
Look, there are so many people out there who are just module DMs, and if there's a dramatic failure at a time where the module indicates that players should be winning, then there's a problem there. Between you and me and all other people who like to invent their own stuff, failure absolutely can be a driver towards success and furtherance of the game and all of that. But for a lot of fresh people into the hobby in the last decade and 15 years who can only run modules because they don't have any creativity in their souls, failure is a problem. They can only win because that's the way the train tracks go. When the GM is being guided by the train tracks as well,
So I think too, it depends on like why are you playing? Because I've played with some people that are just rule mongery, and I mean that's the like hack and slash folks most of the time. That's the people that are like, gotta get the loot, what's the prize? Why didn't I get that kind of thing, right? If you're playing to role play and further the story and have a good time, there's no need to cheat. If you're trying to be the best of the bestest, then and you feel like you are not succeeding, whether you are or not, then you personally will come up with every reason to make sure you get what you deserve. Does that make sense? But yeah, again, I don't understand why people would cheat. I mean, I've been known to botch rolls, but I look at my GM and I'm like, I'm botching this roll and I'm going to tell you I rolled a dump because otherwise I'm going to die, right? But I never like take a crit and turn it into even a halfway decent roll. It's not worth it. Does that make sense? I botched. It's
Okay.
going to hurt,
I'm apparently one of the few people that I've ever had I was told that have ever looked at a GM and said, I'm not going to roll. Why? I want to botch this. I am botching this. As a player, my character sucked and didn't do it right. Really? Yeah. Like, well, what happens? My pixie just electrocuted your freaking starship. That's what happened. Because it was funny as hell. I like a good botch.
I think inexperienced GMs have a problem with the concept of failing forward. And there
you
are
think
some
experienced ones, not inexperienced?
Inexperienced, sorry. Inexperienced
Okay,
GMs
sorry.
have a problem with it. Most of us have.
I was like, wait a minute. Why are they getting worse?
I'm sorry, guys. Matty just posted the funniest meme on the text. I'm sorry, it's really worth it.
But yeah, so a lot of modern games I've seen have actually been doing something to kind of correct that. One of them has a system that they call momentum, so that when a player fails a roll, they get essentially a bonus they can use for the next roll they do. So it kind of goes and guides the GM to be like, oh, okay, they can fail, but that failure should lead to them doing something else. Like, you should never just, oh, I couldn't unlock the door. Well, I guess that's the end of the dungeon. Everyone pack it up. No, you couldn't unlock the door, so we can't continue the story.
Does that mean if you're changing the story as the GM that you're cheating to continue the story? Or because see, to me that's just GMing.
No,
but I know people that would be like, especially if you're running a module, you're not following the module, you're cheating.
Okay, well, don't follow a module, period.
Yes.
Just look at the module. If you see something you think is cool, steal it, and then throw the module away.
I don't actually tear the map out because my autistic brain doesn't like that. But I would buy modules just to take creatures or an NPC or maps. I love to take them for maps. I don't even read most of them.
The
Maps with my
Pathfinder modules
modules.
have lovely maps.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely maps.
Like that's like modules are great for maps. I did know a guy who was so has to be run exactly how the module that we blew through this dungeon in like a quarter of the time because we just kept picking randomly. Left, I don't know, the door on the left, right, left, I don't know, whatever, right? And we kept missing the rooms with all the big bads. So it was a cakewalk. We found the thing pretty easy. We didn't have it. And then we left. And he was ticked off because we didn't do 3/4 of the stupid module. And I'm like, why didn't you just move this shit to the room we wanted? Because that's not how it's written. So what? Put the monster. Say the monster.
Put it where we are.
Say the monster went for a walkabout and ended up in another room.
See, that's a classic case of GM thinking he has horrible players and the players thinking that maybe this is not the best GM on the face of the planet.
Yep. You hear the scream of some innocence from down the hall and the snarl. Done!
Oh.
All right. So, Savage, what do you think?
Yes. On the point of like DMs not being inventive and running modules, you mean? Or
Oh. On botching. I don't remember if we got to you on that.
It really depends on the context, and it's like, okay, is it really because I could see a lot of scenarios where a DM might do that for good reasons. I can see some where it would absolutely be bad. Like, have you ever played and you're at a table and it's majority wallflowers that are just not taking any kind of initiative? They're just kind of like doing the minimum.
Kind of like me tonight. Sorry.
I am not calling you out for being you. I'm calling players that aren't really being players out. That's all.
I'm sorry. I'm calling myself out. I know I was thinking and I'm like, I've totally been that player occasionally when you're just exhausted at the game. But I know what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like you get an exasperated DM that's like, I cannot get these people to do shit. They are not investigating anything. They are not using any of their skills. I've laid out all this shit that they're just passing by because they just aren't doing anything. That's not even they didn't walk into the right room or something. They're just like not doing anything.
The only time I've had that happen were players who were friends and they were just being asshats. So I threw their characters in prison because by the time they quit dicking around, they found the woman dead that they were supposed to have rescued, but didn't because they were dicking around. So I put them in prison and they had to like prove their innocence. I still win. Oh, right. You can't really win. Hi, Flyby. Welcome to the insanity.
The best way to prove your innocence is to catch the ass who actually killed the body you found.
Exactly. So that's what we did. But they did spend like a half hour, 45 minutes. What type of trees? What type of rocks? And I kept, like, you hear this woman screaming. She's screaming like she's being murdered. Do we hear anything else? What do you mean you hear anything else? There is a woman screaming as if she's being bloodily murdered. What about flowers? Are there any? So finally, after... Oh, they're friends and they're asshats. So finally, after like a half hour, 40 minutes of this whole what type of rocks game, okay, which way is the woman who's screaming? Which direction, right? I said, what woman screaming? They're like, the woman you said was screaming. I don't hear any screaming. And they blinked and went, oh shit. What direction was the woman screaming?
It turns out a group of like monsters will kill someone way quicker than a geology lecture.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I threw them in prison and they had to prove their innocence by finding the real culprit instead of protecting her and finding out the whole mystery and why and all that. So
Oh, that's
flyby,
funny.
we're discussing came in at a good time. Can the GM cheat? Is it cheating if it's to help the characters out? Is it not cheating? I mean, so like for example, let's say I, the GM, roll a set of dice and it's a crit, and I know that this is a character that you've been playing for 3 years and you really love, but this will kill the character. And there are some games like Earth Dawn 1879 where this isn't we'll just go and have them resurrected. Like it's much easier to die and much, much harder to bring someone back if you can at all, right?
Right.
So
So
what do you think? Like, is that can the GM cheat? Because I've had situations where I thought this creature was going to be great, and something went snafu or they did really well, and it's not a very good fight if it dies in 2 hits. Unless it's just like one spectacular, dear Jesus, well, we got to give it to you hit, right? But you get what I'm saying. Can the GM cheat if the GM's not actively out to get you? Especially since, as I said earlier, tabletop RPGs don't have winners or losers.
Right. So my my point of view from behind the screen as a GM on the occasions where I do it, I have told all of my players, and I continue to tell my new players, my level of cheat is that I will not kill a first level character or a starting off character. I want you guys to be able to play. I want you guys to learn and experience all the cool things that you get at higher levels. The exception to that is if you insist on being, like you said, an asshat, and you insist on doing something stupid like insisting that I can easily, through mathematics, leap over this 1,000-foot wide chasm, and I'm telling you, you can't do that, but you insist. Fine, make the jump. Oh, look, you failed, you fell, you died. First
Okay.
level character, that's the only way I'm going to kill you off. Insist on being an idiot.
Okay. I'm
After
actually
first level,
very like that. I usually will look at players and be like, look, I don't just go around trying to total party kill or kill anybody, right? But I'm not
Right.
going to say that you're consequence free because I need your character to have some sense of I could die because it makes it
Right.
better.
So
yeah, the illusion of mortality for a role playing game
Is important.
makes it a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more interesting because it's like, crap, I put work into making this character. I've spent hours or days. I had there's one game that I played that was out a long time ago. It was one of Gary Gygax's games after he left TSR, called Mythos, and it took me 3 weeks to make my first character. 3 weeks. It's like
Yep.
all that work put into that, and it's like, yeah, I don't want this thing to die. I want to stick. I want him to stick around for a while. So yeah, I've never really had a desire to kill a first level character. After you level up, however, all bets are off.
So I got 2, I think, fairly good stories that tie into what you said. And I think, Philip, you'll get a kick out of this first one. So this is probably before Philip
I
was
do have
born.
an idea that I want to run past you at some point, though.
Okay.
Well, for how to solve this very problem.
Okay. So, and he didn't want to do Vampire LARP. So he actually had kind of worked out a Shadowrun LARP, right? And was running it for the first time at the local convention. He's very proud of how he's tried to do this so it could be done without rock, paper, scissors, sparkling, right? And the very opening scene, you wake up tied to chairs. The idea is that you got basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're all individual teams. All the ones are a team, all the twos. But to get everybody into the game quickly, you are taken, you wake up, you're tied to a chair. So Flyby, you're going to love this. one of the players looks at this GM and goes, well, I have a cybernetic arm, so I'm just going to rip myself free. Okay, now, anyone who's not an idiot knows that this is a con game, and he's trying to get us into it. We need to just hear what this, because this is our premise, right? The opening lines, that's our premise. This is fucking don't be a douche, right? But no. This guy insists. The GM says that's not going to work because it may be cybernetic, but still attached to your shoulder, which isn't. If you do that, because it's special filament fiber rope that's stronger than steel, whatever the hell, right? If you do that, you're just going to tear your arm out of your shoulder. So just sit there and wake up and let the guy talk, right? Well, no.
Yep.
What do you mean, no? That's not how that works. I am telling you, as the GM, that is what's going to happen. Well, I want to roll to see if I'm strong enough to... Oh, my God. Are you kidding? He just told you you're going to tear your arm off. Insisted on doing it anyhow. Because he was going to roll so well that I tore his arm off. Like, what the...
There are just some people who should just not be allowed to role play.
I can agree with that statement.
There's because I've had similar. I was at a con and playing D&D, random draw characters, right? Because they were pre-made. I met with the DM ahead of time and that, and he's like, "Well, what do you like to play?" And I was like, "Typically, I like to play paladins," and that I was in my paladin phase back then. And he's like, "Well, there's one in there. Maybe you'll get lucky." I did. I pulled the paladin, and there were a couple of rogues in the party, thieves at the time, because this was way back in the day, first edition. And we ran across this cave high up on the mountain. Well, the thieves wanted to go up and check it out. I had the party's magic user levitate me up there with them because, I'm a lawful good paladin. I don't trust thieves who are openly thieves. So I was going to keep an eye on them. We get up there, you see the DM explains there's just this boatload of treasure, and you hear a rumbling and a voice that says, "If you leave now, I will not kill you." Turned out it was a huge red dragon. I reach out and I grab the two thieves and we back out and I'm like, "I apologize. We're out of here." Right? We get back down.
Sorry, wrong door.
Well, no, yeah, but
sorry, wrong door, dragon. Sorry, our bad. We'll just.
My bad. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you. But they got pissed off because I'm a lawful good paladin. Red dragons typically are chaotic evil. It's my duty to kill the dragon.
No.
Die for their belief.
I don't think that it's your duty to be retardedly dumb and die. Like, you have to be heroically dumb and die. Like,
right. So I told him, I was like, "Look, there were only a couple of us up there. It's like, I'm not going to be able to take this on by myself." We were like relatively low level. And I'm like, I said, "I'm not stupid." Well, they're like, "Oh no, we want some of that treasure." So they did the climb walls and got back up in there. And the DM just goes, "Well, all the people who are down on the ground, you all hear a huge roar, and you see a large gout of flame come out of the cave, and you see your rogue buddy's body parts landing." And the players got pissed off and got up and stormed away like you broke their favorite toy. And this was where I just went, "Gentlemen, ladies at the table, lawful good does not mean lawful stupid."
Right.
I was going to say idiocy will be rewarded.
But even worse,
I got a pat on the back,
like,
and it's like,
how
you guys.
Look. It is one thing to be like, this is a game. We're telling a group story. I want us to have a good story, right? And I'm not going to go and do mean things just to be mean, because that's not a good story. But that's different than if you continue to put your genitalia in the door after we've smacked it with the door. Maybe it's your fault. Like,
absolutely.
Like, you can't be mad at me. The other one, because you said something about the jumping so far. I had a guy, it was a D&D game. It was Pathfinder, which is basically, and he doesn't have any feats that help him leap. Now, he's a exceptionally tall character. He's like 12, 14 feet tall, something like that. 12 feet tall. Very, very tall character. But he is 30 foot away from a tree, and the bad person who's got the hostage is 20 foot up in the tree. So 30 foot away, 20 foot up.
Right.
How are you leaping? Because that's like the high end of an arc. So that's like 60 foot of a jump and 20 foot up. Well, I'm tall.
Right.
So was Magic Johnson. But, and I sat there and I'm like, that doesn't, like, look, Pythagorean theorem says, right?
Yep.
Still argued and argued. I finally said, you know what? If you roll a crit on it, we'll just go with it. Fine. I don't want to fight about this. This is ridiculous. He didn't crit and still argued. Whew, sometimes you can't save them.
No, you can't. You cannot fix stupid, but by golly, you can put them in a world of hurt.
I have a question here.
Sure.
Could cheating, or would you personally consider cheating a sign of too dumb to be at my table if you're a GM, or too dumb to be playing with if it's a fellow PC?
Wait. Is it cheating if you think your player's dumb? I'm sorry. I don't understand.
If your player is cheating, do you think, as the GM, do you feel that they're doing it to compensate for being stupid?
No, that's not the question.
Okay, so what's the question?
The question is, if you have someone at your table that you feel is cheating or you catch cheating, and I'll be honest, there's been times I haven't wanted my character to die and I'm rolling and I'm playing and I'll look right at the GM and be like, I'm going to say it wasn't a crit, right? But it's like a 2, right? Even though it was a crit. Would you as a GM consider that a sign that perhaps that person is too dumb, i.e. they're going to do, if they're going to cheat, they're going to, rip their arms off, because why wouldn't I want to do that, right? Are they too dumb to be at your table or to play with? Like, is that something that you're willing to put up with, I guess, is a more generalized thing.
So you're saying you do cheat? That if you don't want a character to die, but you critically failed, botched, that you would say it's a 2?
I leave it up to my GM. If I love that character and I've invested a lot of time in it, and it's been around forever, or if it's a baby character that has no experience, to me, that is a GM decision. But I can look at them and hint and go, I'm going to say it wasn't a crit, even though we know it was, and tell you it was a 2. But then I always roll my dice where everybody can see that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you teasingly say, well, yes. I wish I could tell you it's a 2, but it was a 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as a GM, I have been known to, knowing that someone has critted, or that to, again, further the game or to allow a character to survive, to be able to reach beyond babyhood. I have been known to say, well, lucky for you, the hand of God saves you today, or something like that.
Oh, so you know what you do with that is you take their dice that they botched on and you knock it off the table and go, oh, you have to re-roll it, hit the floor. See? Fix it.
Yeah, exactly. But do you put up with that, I guess is the question. Do you allow it in your games?
So if I know someone cheated, I've known a couple. One of them was another player, and the GM and I talked. The GM knew that the person was cheating, but they didn't want to rock the boat. And I'm like, really? There's been a few other people I've suspected of it, but it's been very rare. And as a general rule, I think I'd rather not have them at the table.
So
Because I don't
do
think that you're the right type of person to play with if you think you should cheat at a game that you shouldn't cheat.
I'm not entirely sure that you can cheat at an RPG game. I mean,
But
it's my
okay, the idea
storytelling, but
of
you know what I
lying
mean.
about your dice roll. Sorry, Philip, you were saying?
Yeah.
So I do have a way around the GM cheating in the player's favor because I don't believe you should ever really cheat. You don't need to as the GM. You're God. You are rolling dice as a favor to them.
I agree with you personally, but I have also had intense communication from players like screaming in my face about what a horrible human being I am that I would cheat in that way.
Oh,
I
people who I just tell those people like that to go kick rocks.
So
I have not the time.
I used to be a fairly regular person on another podcast, and I think the term, Matty will fix me if I'm wrong on this, is OSR. They're like pamphlet D&D. Like you roll your stats, it's 3d6 in order.
Old school revival.
Right. And for most of them, you don't if the dice rolls and you only have one hit point and you're starting the game in one hit point, I guess don't fall over in your shiny suit of metal because you'll die. I mean, there was one game where this one guy died like 4 times in the same in one game. One game. And I'm like, this isn't any fun. He's spending his whole time just make another. I guess you can make another, right? But those guys would have told you that, quote, the GM, quote, cheating, even in the player's favor, was wrong. Because the dice roll with the dice roll, and that's just that. And I did not agree with them because I am not original pamphlet. I'm like AD&D where story was more important.
I do have an actual answer for that as well, to actually in game. Pretty much, I can't think of a game where this wouldn't work. It is literally divine intervention, but you go and you make them pay for it. If you
God
feel
always
that
wants
you
a favor back.
Huh?
God always wants a favor back.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. If I'm running Earth Dawn and they've gotten themselves in over their head and they can't find a way out, and I think they honestly have done everything, it's just the rolls have been shitty, I will say one of the passions has now intervened in your favor.
Yeah.
By the grace of Locos, nothing may bar your path.
I had a game,
and now you are leaving, but I'm like, weirdly though, later that week you hear about a group of slavers armed to the teeth, and they're about to move in on a village. You might have a debt to pay.
Look, I had a game where this guy had spent all this time making this character and was super thrilled with the new character. Dies 30 minutes into the game, and it was just bad. He botched. The bad things critted. So his whole thing is that he was about killing the undead. That was his whole thing, is he was going out there to stop the monstrous undead things, right? So he got brought back as a undead thing. Who's out there killing the other undead things because his job isn't done. He can't have failed the passions. You're not done.
That's really kind of funny because my group we just started a new 5th edition D&D campaign, and my character concept was I wanted to play a full-blood vampire, but I'm tired of the eternal life, so I'm a vampire cleric who is a follower of Kelemvor. This is in the Forgotten Realms, who is the final judge deity. So my whole job as I'm seeking redemption and the ability to die without being suicidal about it, is that I'm out hunting undead as well. So
That's great.
and I've got myself set up where it's like no, the only person that knows exactly what I am is the DM. And because we work together, it's really easy to pull him off to the side and say, "Hey, I want to do this, and what do you think about that?" Without having to do it at table to reveal all of my secrets to everybody. So it's just funny that about saying about coming back as an undead. It's like, oh, crap, I started as an undead, and I'm tired of it. 2,000 years old. It's time for me to just call it quits. And I've seen everything that I thought I was going to see and whatnot. So yeah, so we're working a redemption campaign for my character, sort of. But yeah, it's just kind of fun.
So, Mr. Pink, let's say you're GMing and you have
Okay.
caught the person cheating. Do you find a way to get them off your table? Do you talk to
Uh,
them? What do you do with it?
there's going to be a talking to them. And if I'm the only one who's caught it, it will happen privately. If they're so bad at cheating, it happens right out in front of God and everybody. The conversation will probably happen in public.
And if they keep cheating,
Yeah, well then they're buying.
they're gone. All right,
Done
Savage.
by,
All right, Savage. Someone's cheating at your table.
Basically, if somebody's cheating at my table, basically, I will literally, number one, that's just an indicator of how they're going to work in the future. So I very much keep it in mind. If it happens once and they never try any of that crap again, fine. If it's going to happen 2 or 3 times, I'm going to have some very inventive consequences for them. And if they really just, become a serial fudger of the game, basically, on their end, I just, lose their phone number, accidentally don't invite them, and yeah, that's it. They're just kind of uninvited. I don't make drama out of it. I just go, yeah, no, they're not here anymore.
All right, Philip. What do you do at cheaters at your table? Ask Sarah too. I feel like she's been too quiet.
Well, Sarah is running around doing something at the moment. She'd like to know what you would do if you were running a game and someone was cheating. You caught them cheating.
Oh shit, we'll pay later. I will torch them.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They just turned on hard
See,
mode.
we love Sarah.
She is so much worse than me. So much worse than me. It's like playing with a cat when she runs a game. I will go and have a talking to them. I have not had this happen before. I think we said some kid might have been cheating.
Oh yeah, one of
Yeah.
our games. Yeah.
I give kids free passes to cheat at RPGs because they don't understand stuff. That cutoff is a very short amount of time that I will entertain kids because they need to learn stuff and have their brain grow up properly. There's a very, very early childhood cutoff for that, but I will do that. I just go and minimize their effects on anything. Because if they're going to win at every roll they make in the game, I just have them roll for less. And that will tend to resolve itself.
Matty?
But I haven't had an actual adult cheat. That would be terrifying.
I've known a couple. Matty? What would you do? I feel like you wouldn't put up with it at the table, but
Only I may cheat.
only you may cheat.
Look, honestly, cheating at my tables have never really come up as an issue because I tend to only play with people who are friends and who do it for exactly the same reasons that I do, to have fun. I don't particularly like playing with RPGs with strangers like that. Now, it would be different if we were going to stretch this out to wargaming, like
This you can, I think. Like, if you're playing at a wargaming table and the other person's cheating, because I have a good question that ties into that, but go ahead.
Oh, then absolutely I would be calling them out. Like, hey, yo, what the fuck? Don't do that. Not cool. Also, you lose. And there needs to be a discussion at that point. Like, are you actually aware that what you're doing is wrong?
Like, do you know you're cheating, or are you just bad at the game?
And I think that's important.
Do you have an understanding of the rules? And
I do think that's important.
Once you flesh that out, then you can start smacking people with hammers or coaching them.
I think it's easier to figure out if you're cheating in RPG. Like, if you rolled a 6 and said you have a crit.
I had a character in Pathfinder that could almost legitimately say he could roll a crit on a 6.
Yeah, because you can reduce the crit range, but so
yeah, that's just Pathfinder though. Like,
actually, you can reduce the crit range in 3X too, D&D. Perfectly.
Well,
that's where Pathfinder got it from.
Thing.
So go ahead, Philip.
I dig Earthdawn's combat way more than I dig any of D20 combat. There's so much better back and forth.
So I had this friend, and they played, I think, Magic is what it is. Magic the Gathering. Okay? And he said that there was a tournament where there was a guy who was blind, right? And he has they use Grail on his cards, right? Braille. And but he had it set so that he could run. It's on the back, so when he knew what cards they were without flipping them, or something. Like, it was like way it was printed so that he could shuffle the deck or whatever it was, right?
He was playing with a marked deck.
Right.
Yeah, that's blatant cheating.
And other people knew he was doing it, but they didn't want to call him out because he was blind. And so we're having this discussion. I'm like, I absolutely would. And somebody else was like, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, why not? He's cheating. Cheating is cheating. Well, but he's blind.
Right.
But he's still cheating. I am very confused on how.
Yeah, blindness or deafness or anything like that does not exempt you from cheating.
Right?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with. There's no reason that he couldn't have had those cards marked so that when they were flipped, he read the card while the other person saw the card. Does that make sense?
Right. He could.
I mean, I joke that I cheat. I mean, I will tell you, point to your face. If you ask me, do you cheat? I'll look at you and say, absolutely. But you will never not. Everybody at the table knows exactly what I rolled.
So,
and I played a character that my flaw was that I lied and prearranged with the GM that the dice rolls were to be done as the character so that I could lie about it. It was a hilarious game. I had a blast. But it's different. And I want to kind of go back for a second to the comment Matty made about making sure people understand that that's cheating. Because I know that there was a lot of stuff that happens with young players, young GMs, or like when you're just starting a game, that you may not know all the cultural nuances that more established gamers and GMs would be like, oh, that's some BS right there. But you may not know. And I know that I never, while I may have been slightly socially embarrassed when someone said, hey, do you know how uncool that is? I never regretted when someone did that for me as a beginning player. Or even when older player characters that I was GMing would be like, that's kind of a shit move for a GM to do. Sometimes it didn't mean that I changed my mind, but I would at least remember that was considered to be not acceptable. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
I had
Mhm.
the middle schoolers last week at one point, and they were done with some work, and I was playing Uno with some of them because the teacher had a deck in her desk. This is apparently an okay thing to do. When I learned Uno, the rules were that you didn't have to say Uno, or you had to say Uno, but you just had until the next person started their turn.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Well,
Right. Yep.
they sat there and were like, you have to say it like, and they weren't like, you didn't say it fast enough. And I'm like, you didn't start your turn. And then they had some weird rule that they were doing that was like, if you put down a +2, I could put down another +2 and you wouldn't have to take the +2. It moves to the next person, they get a +4. And as long as +2s kept being put on it, whoever didn't have a +2 was then stuck with adding up all of them.
That is
So-
a newer thing in Uno
Called stacking or something.
Because my daughter tried pulling that one on us too, and it's like that's not
But-
how the original Uno is played.
Right, and I'm old, so I play by the original. But I guess there is some thought of, especially in like miniature wargaming where there can be a lot of rules, do they know that they're like, are they actively cheating or are they just unsure of the rules? And I guess that would make a difference.
As someone who, I think as someone who has worked at tourneys and helped organize tourneys, the most common quote unquote cheat you see is the unwritten rule. So normally it's not just by game rules, but often tourneys will have actual, like, we're playing by this ruling, whatever, because there's so many different rules and variations that you can play by, especially for like 40K and stuff like that. That if it's not defined, then it's just not just an open door, and an open, I mean, it's just huge for people to step through and cheat through it. Because I promise there will be the jerk out there that will purposely look for that and do it because they know that it'll get out the extra point or whatever.
Right.
But they're not playing, they're only playing the game to stomp and be the best. And they're not playing it to enjoy it, usually.
They're
That
the
makes sense?
loophole hunters.
Exactly. Or they're playing, or their joy is from stomping and crushing that other person, not
So-
from,
Okay.
know.
There's a younger person that I know, and he was another person talking about magic, right? And he was going to be in this tournament, and it was very important to him that he won, needed to win, right?
Mhm.
And there was something about Magic had changed their rules to a level 2 deck versus a level 5. And apparently the rules were changed not for tournaments, but for I like squirrels. I have a squirrel deck versus someone who's like competitive deck buildy type of person.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes the rules a little bit more like, it says you can only have one of these world ending things, but is this one not? Like, the rules can be a little hedgy. And so he was trying to design a deck that was also hedging on these rules, but would probably slip by as being okay, but definitely wasn't in the spirit of it, and possibly wasn't. And I was like, well, why don't you just ask if it's okay? And it was it's better to ask forgiveness and hope they don't catch it type of thing. And I was really like, my inner paladin autistic child was like, but that's cheating. Cheating bad. You bad, right? Yep. Well, society in the universe is more complex. This person didn't necessarily have a lot of cool stuff growing up, and so material things probably matter more to them than it should.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are young and you grew up where you never got anything, and this was a way for you to get something cool that otherwise you would not be able to have, it matters more than, an old person like me who's like, you got a box of cards. What the fuck? Just go buy a box of cards. Right? So sometimes maybe having that conversation, like, are you cheating because you don't realize you're cheating and you don't know the rules? Is there something else going on in your universe? And your character dying today would be that one straw too many or something, right? Like maybe there could be some outlying reason that
But
isn't
that I
as
think,
disgusting.
but I think that that's also that falls into the aspect of the game master, because like I said, I'm also one of the older people. I just turned 60. I've been playing D&D since 1980, and you know, I went through the whole satanic panic, and
I did too.
it's the job of the DM or GM to keep an eye on your players. If the death of that character is going to be that last straw, you need to get them to step away from the game. You need to
Oh
get
god.
them to get into some therapy or into some other outlet, or you know, for stress management, or you know, whatever. But that's kind of falls on us as game masters to keep an eye on our table, make sure everybody is still cool with what's going on, and and comfortable with the direction that the game is going to flow, or that the campaign, or you know, is headed. If this is a horror type campaign, you know, are you okay with being scared? Are you okay with, you know, gore, you know, descriptive gore kind of thing? It's like, you know, that's pretty much what a lot of session zeros are designed around now. More than just building the character, it's to sit and get that mental and emotional permission, basically, from everybody to say, you know what, you go and we're good, but we will give you, you know, a code word or something if you're hitting a weird trigger that we weren't expecting or whatnot, you know. So it's you know, I don't feel that you know, the death of a character or something like that should be that all encompassing,
I'm
oh my god, my life is
I'm
shit.
just saying that there, you know, like you don't know, their dog could have died that day, and that the death of the character just is too much. Because you know,
Yeah.
like
But again,
I'm
but
trying to be
that's,
nice.
you
I'm
know,
trying to be nice, which is hilarious because
I-
Flyby, you're a little older than me, so I will be honest with you. I have very little patience for a lot of session zero stuff.
right. And
Like
I
just
don't really
adult
get
and
into
tell me
a
you
lot
have
of
a
the stuff
problem.
in
I
zeros
don't need
either.
cards at my table that I'm in a yellow zone. Just open your mouth
Right.
and say, dude, I'm a little uncomfortable. Like,
And for me, the good thing that is that all of the people in my group, we're all friends. We some of us work together, and we all know. And the conversations that we have that are not even game related are enough to go, yeah, you guys are gonna be cool with just about anything I throw at you. So we don't really do the session zeros for that. Then our character generation, do you know so and so, you know, kind of thing. It's like getting the character
yeah,
backgrounds and backstories fleshed out. That's what
yeah, that's
our
fine.
session zeros turn into. But you know, but again, like I said, I mean, if these are people that you know and that you've played with for a long time, like Philip said, you know, like he plays with people that he knows. If you're getting into a new group scenario, though, you might want to have those kind of session zeros and say, hey guys, this is the kind of game that I run. Are y'all okay with this?
Yeah.
So, Philip,
You know,
you were gonna say something about the seeing it. You know, like it could be that, like having that conversation, like maybe they don't know, or maybe
Well,
it's the dog ate my homework and I'll cry. I don't
so
know.
I've run a lot of LARPs for a lot of people that I barely know. And I've had, oddly enough, the only time I've had someone black card out of a scene was in Changeling, because
There's lots
I
of
ran
reasons that you might unchangeling if it's ran right.
I ran Changeling. Most people were used to like fluffy butterfly Changeling. I run
Oh,
the
oh
Brothers
shit.
Grimm have decided to cook meth Changeling.
whoops.
Yes, I have done that. I have
So
an Alice in Wonderland setup that I occasionally pull out that involves where Tweedledee and Tweedledum were surgically sewn together. They're
yeah,
not even
no,
brothers. And so when
and
they get
that's
into the fight scene, they unzip and it's visceral.
Oh, God.
And that's not even the
And,
worst thing. I
and I
got
would-
told the worst thing was the caterpillar. Because the caterpillar, his legs are sewn together, his arms are sewed to his side, he's been stretched to elongate, and then to give that cartoon striping, stripes of his skin have been removed. You know, so like every 3 inches, another strip. And he's smoking the hookah because it's goblin fruit, so that he can basically survive because he's missing half his effing skin, right? And they decided that this was the worst thing because if you tried to save him, he probably couldn't survive outside of Arcadia. And if you try to kill him, they're just going to kidnap someone else and make a new caterpillar. They're like, there's not really a win. And I'm like, no. I mean, unless you can take out both the Red and the White Queen. So yes, Philip. I like it dark. I like it dark.
I mean,
She gets very dark.
it's and that's the thing. It's like it is too much for some people. But one of the things specifically in LARP we police, especially in LARP organizations, is bleed, which is when someone starts to get a little too into their character.
Yeah.
and that it happens in tabletop too,
It does.
but it is much more common in LARP, and it is something that you have to look for and you do the hard but necessary thing of saying you need to take a step back, you need to take a break. It's like you are getting into a headspace that is not good for you, and I will not let you continue playing this game until we've had a talk in about a week or two.
So
Yep.
And that's
Philip,
hard to do with people.
it can be.
Especially even sometimes with people that you know, where you
Oh,
see
I
them.
think it's
more
worse
so
when
with
you know
friends.
them. It's worse
yeah.
when you know them.
When it's
Yep.
a friend, it's horrible, but you're doing them the best thing you can for them.
Absolutely.
So Philip, did I ever tell you about my last Earth Dawn game that I was running at Origins Gen Con? Back when I got to run games at Origins Gen Con. Did I tell you about that one?
No, what terrible things did you? I can't tell you what we did in Changeling because I think you will all think I'm a worse human being for it.
You tell me later because I won't. I'll be like, I could
I'm
steal
not sure
that.
that's possible.
Yeah, because we're pretty bad. Tell us.
Like,
Tell us. I might need it. I have a
will
changeling
at some
table right
point-
now, so I might need this. Go ahead.
Well, I have
Well,
a suggestion. When do we let him tell us after we're done recording?
No.
That way he doesn't
well,
feel like
I
the
will give you-
entire universe might
to
judge
give
him
you-
on this.
To give you a hint, the person who black carded out of it had done like emergency victim stuff to like help people, and what we were describing was too much for him.
I had a changeling table where one of the players had been kidnapped by vampires. And she came to me between sessions and said, I think that those vampires will do this horrible, horrible deed that apparently you can't say or you'll be pulled off of anything and everything. I think they use like initials these days. Like,
I know what you're hinting at,
right?
And
it was a player who came
all
to
of my
me.
players know I specifically don't run that. So
Here's the thing. This is what it was. I said, you decide in your head how far that went. Your character decides if they're ever going to talk about it and who they talk to about it. I didn't. She did. It's her character. And the thing isn't that, because I've had people like, well, how, whatever. I said, that table was all friends. None of them were going to be upset about this topic. And two, what you don't know that I knew is that she had that happen. And this was one way that she wanted to try to work through how to talk to people when she was ready to talk to people about it. And it can be very therapeutic to do something like this in a safe session where it's just a character. It doesn't really count.
I personally would not feel comfortable running that specifically because I do not feel myself qualified for that kind of therapy.
Which is fine, but I'm not calling it therapy. I said it was therapeutic for her. It was her choice, her decision, and she took it as far as she was willing to. And I don't tell other people necessarily how they cope with their stuff.
I get you.
So there's, for me, there's technically literally nothing off the table. There are certain things that I won't do because I don't like how that works or how that fits, or I don't think that this is a good table for it. That same situation at a different table, I might have been like, let's have a talk outside about this because I don't know that this is going to go well, and this is why. If I knew it was going to upset somebody else at the table, I might have been like, right? But I knew everybody. We were all friends. We all knew what this was. If this was how she needed to deal with it, then that's how she needed to deal with it.
Right.
So, but tell me afterwards about it, because like I said, I'll steal it. But so my last Earth on table, right? Why wouldn't I? I would absolutely steal things like that and use it to torture my players.
Oh, I'm well aware.
So basically, the player characters are in this little village, and they come across this farm, and it's got a quadruple homicide, a mommy, a daddy, and 2 children. Their heads are bashed in. You get to town to be like, hey, what the heck's going on? And the town squares all in a huff about murders. And then there's like these 2 boys, and they get into a fist fight over apples, and like the entire crowd gets into a fight. They go to see this woman. She's not where she's supposed to be. So they go and they find her in the sacred grove. She has like locked herself in the sacred grove and has starved to death even though there's food around her. Like literally starved herself. There's a scene where this guy has a knife and has decided that the player characters are actually either horrors or agents of a horror, and decides that to save his wife and kid, he's going to kill them. The players have to burst in and try to save them. And most of the tables saved the kid, but not the mom. Some tables didn't save either. They just didn't get in time. Only to realize the entire town is basically horror marked. And they trace it to the water. They trace the water back. They find a thing. They go and they kill it. Yay, we killed it. Except for it didn't change anything. Because it was just an aspect. Now, I always meant to go back and do the second half, which is using mystic paths to level up the characters. No, not mystic paths. Questers. Questers to level up the characters. It wasn't mystic paths. No, it was mystic paths. And put like... the horror stalker and purifier and all those things, so that they could actually go back and truly hunt this thing down and stop it. But I never got to do the second half. I got told that one was dark. Philip, how bad did I do? How dark?
I mean, it's hard. I think things only go truly dark when you can find a personal hook to pull in someone.
Well, and see, I didn't think this one because it's not it's a con table, so I don't have any good.
It's hard to do things appropriately dark at a con table.
That's what I thought, but I literally got told, and he was at Freedonia Con last weekend. There was the guy who had written under, what was it, 3rd edition Red Brick or whatever? Something in that range. He was at the table and he's like, you might want to warn people.
I mean,
that's the storyline that made the 16-year-old cry in Poland. I felt bad about that one.
But only in Poland.
Only in Poland. Yeah. He took that to heart.
Anywhere else, won't cry. Poland, sobbing.
Andi,
right.
Matty says he would love to have that game run for us sometime.
Would you guys play it?
With me.
Of course we'd play it.
Yeah.
See, I would have loved to have seen how it went on the second half. Because the second half was really where everyone's supposed to come back and like You're a higher circle. You have the past stuff with purifier, so you can purify the land. You can purify the water. You can hunt this thing down and really truly mess a bitch up, right? Like this was supposed to be that low that forces the characters to become the high, and I never got to finish the storyline. I even managed to con Morgan into doing all the character sheets for me, so I didn't have to. He even actually designed my horror aspect in the horror for it. So I actually have those someplace. Because Morgan's a sweetheart, and I'd be like, I need a monster to do this. This is my general, and he would actually put it all together for me.
Nice.
Let's see, my 1879 game, the first one that I ran online. And on the old website, and it might still be around, there was the the thing where you would post. Lady Styx, you know what I'm talking about? They have like question, not format.
Message boards?
Message boards. Is that what it is? But we have one of those, but they turned it off.
Old BBSs where you did like a forum where you did like a turn a day.
Forums. We had the forums. It was, other than the Earthdawn, it was like the most read forum on the most read board or whatever on the forums was my Expendables game. And we spent like 2 years of just crazy, hilarious hijinks for the most part, fairly lighthearted. And then they get to town with this ghost who is based on a true Wild West-esque story from near that time period. And unfortunately, she was murdered very horrendously by her baby daddy because she thought she was in love and he was a cad. And so him and his roommate kill her, trying to get rid of her unborn child. Oh, yeah. It's a dark, dark story. And they cut off her head, and they never found the head. They literally took these guys and we will take the death penalty off the board if you give back this woman's head. Oh yeah, the whole story is just horrible. And it does nothing but get worse, by the way. So it's also, however, weirdly, one of the few times the Pinkertons weren't just totally, money robbing douche canoes. The town couldn't figure out this woman because her head was cut off and so were her hands. No, just the head. The head was cut off. Everything else is there. And she's dressed in a sex worker's dress. And they're like, but we don't have any sex workers. So they literally call the big town nearby and say, are you missing any sex workers? And they go, nope, 1, 2, 17, we have all of our sex workers. So they're like, we don't understand. Who is this woman? Because they don't have a head, right? So they call the Pinkertons in. The Pinkertons go, you guys are stupid. Well, how are we stupid? You didn't look at her clothes. Yes, we did. She is dressed as a street worker. We have none. We are missing none. We called Cincinnati. They have all of theirs. They counted 1, 2, 3, whatever. There are all of the street workers, right? Sex workers, whatever, right?
Hold on. We got you through with Cincinnati. Cincinnati, how many street workers do we have?
Yes. Okay, right? So, and the Pinkerton goes, her gloves and shoes are not of that socioeconomic class. Those are rich people's. You're idiots. Somebody has dressed this poor headless dead woman in this dress. So the shoes, this is like Cinderella for Pinkertons, and wow, that's dark, right? The shoes back then, if they were especially well-made ones, have a maker's thing, and they basically went to the company, said, what woman bought these shoes? Well, she had a very small feet, and it was an unusual color, so there was not very many people, and they literally knocked on doors. Do you have the woman who wears these shoes? Is she alive? Are you sure? Okay, next. Do you have the woman who wears these shoes? Until they found someone who's like, well, yes, she went away. We haven't heard from her. Oh, we haven't heard from her. So they're just sitting here going, What the living Hades, Andy? What are you doing to us? Because we had falling rocks that, like, somebody who was watching it on stream was like arachnids, so that as the rocks were falling, they'd be like spiders. And I said, why the hell not? So now we have arachnids, right? That's this gaming table until this story. And I'm like, I told you I could get dark. And they said, yeah, you said that in the beginning. Well, yes, that is usually when we say these things, is, not session 0, but session 0, right? In the beginning. But that was 2 years ago. Yes, that was the beginning. It's really dark. And I'm like, yes.
And you were warned. You're welcome.
Right? Because if you start out too dark too quick, I don't think it has the same impact. I think you need that lighthearted phase to, like, lure them to that false sense of security before you just whammy.
You gotta get them to like the people around them before you start going off on a mass murder spree.
You need the freeze puppy sign to get him in the van.
Yeah.
Listen, you have to let them know that you killed all their kinfolk because they can't protect them from the emanations of the worm. And it's their failings that cause their people to die.
I mean, always.
It sounds like Game of Thrones if George R.R. Martin didn't make you like any of the characters. You'd be like, all right, everybody's dead. Okay.
Well, that's
Oh,
that
so
story in a hurry.
so what they were supposed to do was they were supposed to find her head and her unborn child and put them back to put her to rest. So it was very sad too. In reality, her unborn child was later found basically in a candy dish, embalmed in a candy dish. Yeah.
This
Like,
just makes me
reality
wanna
is
play
so
Witcher
awful
3.
sometimes.
Like, I want to play Witcher 3 again because it got that dark.
So I like a walk on the dark side. I do.
I wanted to. I have one idea for an Earthdawn campaign if I can eventually get my players back to wanting to play again. But I was pondering a Jack the Ripper style. Small town, but and the mayor or whatever knows who it is, but they're protecting him because the Jack the Ripper is actually
Hear me out.
horror type.
Have you considered doing it in 1879?
I have not even looked at 1879, so I don't know that much about it. Yeah,
Darling.
This is a game made for the Ripper.
It is.
I've been first edition hardcore for most of my life on all the games that I like to play. So I've done Earthdawn since first edition. I did some second edition. I skipped third, and now I've been collecting all the books for fourth. I'm an old school gamer, and yeah, there's just a lot of newer stuff that's like I just kind of I'm not really getting into as much. But yeah, I've seen the 1879, but I just haven't gotten into picking anything up to look into it.
Pick up. Go to the web shop and get the free PDF quick start guide.
Mm-hmm.
And flip through it. And if you have any questions, Brad's a darling. Philip, I think, is going to write for them as well as for Earthdawn. Philip's wife Sarah's actually agreed to help do some writing too. It's I actually love it more, but I love it because of a lot of the freedom and the steampunk magic feel to it is fantastic. But you have all the stuff you could have in Shadowrun, but you also have all the exploration that you didn't have. It's lots of fun.
All right, yeah, I'll have to check that out then.
And there's a lot of really awful stories that come out of that time period, like this poor woman. and so it makes storytelling super easy because you can just like weird West stories, or
Right. Yeah.
crazy stuff that happened in Victorian. And there's so much of it that's just blink, blink, dear, what the,
Right.
that it just writes
Andy.
itself for you.
Probes.
Andy, I feel like it's my job to say time check.
All right. Well, you
Yeah,
want to go to bed? Everybody else, if we want to stay, I don't have to get up
Y'all
tomorrow.
can keep talking, but at some point it gets long for the actual podcast length and for people
It
listening.
doesn't.
So
That's not necessarily true.
I'm going to go ahead and bow out now. Anyway,
But
my wife
thank
just
you
got home. So
for joining us. You should come every Thursday. We're here every Thursday.
thank you for inviting me. I will. I'll see what I can do.
All right. You have a good night.
Movie night Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Movie night's Tuesday.
Okay.
It's usually, yeah. So actually, Lady Styx, there are a lot of podcasts that go 2 to 3 hours. So it's not a big problem if we have a couple of long ones. If you are tired, you're absolutely happy to bow out. If everybody else is done for the night, we can shut down. We're good. Either way. But I now have to, I will say this, I do now have a movie. It's worse than Old Boy. Ooh.
Yeah,
Because Old
now I'm
Boy
thinking
messes
about
with you psychologically.
It did. This does, but it's worse because Old Boy at least gives you that wonderful treat of a amazing fight scene.
That's true.
This doesn't do that to you. It's just, hey, welcome to one long kick in the groin.
Ooh. See, I will say that as a girl, Old Boy doesn't hit me as hard as it did some of my male friends.
This will hit you.
Oh yeah, this will get you.
This will kick you right in the pregnant stomach.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. See, now I have to go watch this movie. So there is that. I have a movie to watch.
The worst thing is we were just like, oh yeah, what is this? We'll just put it on and not just put it in the background, and then we were immediately just glued.
Within like 5 minutes, you go, holy
It's
shit.
one of those things where you can't look away, and you're like, it's not
like
like
very bad things where you can't look away.
And it's not like a gross out thing. It's not like Cannibal Holocaust. It's not like was it Serbian movie? It's not one of those.
Okay.
So it's not just gross you out. It's just
It's not just a gore fest.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not a gore fest. It's surprisingly subdued, but somehow by being subdued, it is so much worse.
That's part of the. I commented on the boards. I have found that Hispanic horror gets me. I mean, yes, it is graphic often. That doesn't bother me. It's the underlying psychologicals that they use.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I can't do that.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, the coffee tables was made in Spain.
Yeah, like
It is an
Spain,
actual
stuff from Spain,
Spanish.
Brazil. There's been a couple of movies from Mexico that have been amazing, but like they just years later they just don't go away. And I like horror, but I don't want stuff that years later I'm like, ugh, right?
do.
Good.
I know you do.
That's what I live for. I want it to
See?
inhabit my dreamscape.
I want to have to
See,
check under my bed before I go to sleep at night.
Now, see, I have to be very careful about that because I have reasons why I have my own nightmares and I don't need other people's, right? So, but knowing that, I just choose not to do that.
Which is fine.
Rules. We only watch it between 10 and 2 in the middle of the day.
I want it to I would love it to come at me and just damage my entire thinking process because one, it's really hard for anything to affect me like that anymore. And I feel sad about that because as a child, the things I would have absolutely horrified me now, I just find bland.
Yeah.
And I blame the fact that reality is so goddamn awful sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when Killer Clowns from Outer Space absolutely terrified me as a child. And seeing Tim Curry as It was just the worst thing I could have done to myself.
So it's on Amazon Prime, but only with the Midnight Pulp, or you can buy or rent it. Let's see what else I can find.
What did we find it on? Was
It
that
might have been Prime.
was it or was it
Or
that
Shudder?
not
Or
Shudder
Cranked?
cranked up? I think
I don't know that one.
we have it's an independent horror streaming service that is even more independent horror than Shudder.
It's like $50 a year. That's it.
Oh, wow.
We are horror hipsters. We go to the conventions.
They know me. I have their card.
I was at one years ago in Champaign, Illinois. It was a pretty fun convention. I'd never been to a horror convention before, but I enjoyed it.
I worked with a lot of people in horror comics way back in the day. Sarah's back tattoo is pretty much like it looks like something right out of Tales from the Crypt, like
Cool.
that era as a splash page. Yeah, we are big into horror.
Well, your family mostly is too.
Well, yes, my entire family is like, man, what the heck happened to us? Well, yeah, even back in the day, all of them went to it. Like my aunt almost got kicked out of the theater while watching Friday the 13th because she wouldn't stop laughing.
That sounds like your aunt.
She saw like all the blood in the thing, Freddy, and she just broke down laughing because it was just so ridiculous. Today is Friday.
I know it's super tame compared to most people, but I did actually recommend to my youngest that if they really wanted some good humor, like funny comedy shit, that the Scream series was amazing because it wasn't that scary.
It was not scary at all. It was parody.
Scary at all.
So Tubi has it. Tubi says Tubi, which is free, says that they have it.
Japanese horror, man. That is
Korean.
Be careful.
Korean gets messed up.
They
love
can
it.
do it right. It still was hard to watch Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Because it makes you watch it high.
Yeah, that is what my wife does to me. I am high as a kite, and she puts on Tetsuo the Iron Man. I'm like, wow,
That's
this is
love.
a new music video. And then I'm just screaming for an hour internally.
See, that's love. All the love.
It is. I wouldn't trade our quality time for anything.
Oh, on a funny note, too, I was having a bad day a couple weeks back. And he goes, let me put on something, a comedy for you. He puts on Final Destination. I'm like, wait, you're right. This made me feel better.
Yes, I will admit that is one of my, if I'm having like a real shit day, Final Destination, that absolutely goes on.
It's hilarious how they kill people in
that. I think it's like, at least I'm not them.
Yes.
I feel like cartoon music should be going off as like they go through this elaborate machine of do 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 do.
Horror version of Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the name of those contraptions? Those elaborate over the top. I can't remember the name.
Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg. That's it. It's Final Destination is the Rube Goldberg murders, and I love it.
I think he has the time wrong. No sound.
It's like
fair.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 7.
Is it?
Yeah, it should be 7 my time.
Oh.
I'll let you correct me, Andy.
I'm working on it.
Well,
yeah, but maybe Matty doesn't spring ahead and,
Oh, yeah, that's right. They don't.
I think we do that this weekend.
We always do the movies at 7, so they're over by 9. Podcasts at 8, movies are at 7. Because every time we have a movie, I have to reset an alarm for every time we have a movie so that I remember it.
Well, see, because it says that it's in your local time, and it's saying 8, and my local time should be 7. But he'll fix it. We have time between now and then. 7 p.m. U.S. Central. So 7 for you, 7 for us.
7 for all those under the sway of the archdukocracy of Chicago.
Well, and we're in Lady Styx and Mr. Pink. Aren't you also Central?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody in here, because I know Dire Sith is central. So, oh no, except for Savage. Savage, that's 5 p.m. your
In
time.
your Pacific time here. Yep.
Yeah, that's 5 your time.
What?
Because Ross is also Pacific. So I had to keep track of those.
There was a double entendre in my gift there.
I know.
Today is Friday in California. That was some of the stuff. Oh my God, some of the stuff they did in the early 2000s when Japan finally started figuring out CG for movies. Oh, those horror movies were so insane. Tokyo Gore Police.
Oh, that was awesome.
Was it Machine Girl?
Oh,
Machine
yeah.
Gun Girl? Or
Yeah,
oh my
Machine
God, these things were so insane. And I watched almost every one of them I could find. Oh
So-
yeah, you did. You knew they upset me, and you made me watch them.
So my other favorite,
No.
I like exploitation films.
Well,
All right.
just to go back to the
Love
Japanese stuff, it's amazing how many bad Japanese horror movies can break out into a topless pillow fight somewhere.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird. And they all have the
Oh,
same white panties. I don't know why.
Mecha Geisha, was that the one we watched? That was terrifying.
It's got a
Ugh.
geisha. How can it be bad? Like
I do love exploitation movies, mostly because I like to see that slice of the 70s. I've seen most of Rudy Ray Moore's movies, and I sincerely find them hilarious because
they are.
I mean they were supposed to be. Dolomite is a comedy.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's like Rudy Ray Moore was a comedian. Like, it's supposed to be funny. One of the funniest movies, if you like those exploitation movies,
Mhm.
is Black Dynamite. That is
Yes.
one of the
I've
funniest
seen it.
movies I have ever seen. I've watched it several times.
I also like the Ilsa
when he's
movies.
talking and the furry microphone shows up above his head.
Yep.
It's just
Who's
like, yep, that's...
I have a favorite exploitation movie. It's Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law.
Yeah, that's why you watch black exploitation films because they're amazing.
It also reminds me of my uncles, weirdly, and the crap I heard they used to get up to.
Okay, that's fair. I can see that.
I mean, Polynesian counts, I think. I mean, you're treated the same by the police.
Good night, Lady Styx.
Good night.
Actually, I'm gonna let's go ahead because half of us have left. I'm gonna say goodnight on this thing, and I'm gonna shut the stream down. You guys want to say goodnight too?
All right, good night.
Good night, everybody.